So what if you wanted to create your own material? What do you do then? So let's get into that. So under manage, let's go to materials and let's just see what's available to us. We have the kind of preset Revit materials. The other ones that you should be aware of is, and I always forget how to get in here. Oh, there it is the AEC series of materials. So there's a whole other layer of these. So let's just imagine that we're wanting to create a herringbone pattern. One, let's see if it's even in here. But you can see that there is a ton of, that's organized by types, and then there's a lot more materials than you find up here. So if you like one of these, what you need to do is click on that and it adds the material to the document. If you don't do that, it won't actually arrive up here. But so that's fine. I just wanted to show you that that is available. So as you get into your project, these AEC materials are your friend. But let's just go back to the brick. Because remember, when you're creating new materials, the best way to do it is actually to duplicate a material that's already here, because it'll have a lot of the physical characteristics and appearances that you probably already want, and so it makes it a lot easier. See, each of these, a brick's going to have a certain material preference, or even you'll see in here under appearance that it has certain categories, as opposed to me opening up, say, glass. So glass has a different set of categories that it allows you to, and parameters it allows you to change. So you have to duplicate a material that is close, otherwise you won't have the right parameters to change later. So I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate this. I'm going to call this out as my herringbone. And I also have to remember to do one more thing, which is to duplicate the asset. Me creating this is fine. It has a different name, but the asset is everything about its appearance. So if I don't duplicate this and I change herringbone, it's also going to change common. So I need to remember to do that. Duplicate asset. Alright, so now I have two assets, and then I have this image that's based on. Now it'd be really great if I could find a herringbone image in here. But I don't think I'm going to be that lucky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the World Wide Web, and let's look for herringbone. I don't know if it's two words or not. Probably isn't. Alright, and then we'll go with brick. And we'll go to images. And so we're looking for something that is not unlike some of these here. So essentially it's a texture map that we're looking for. It doesn't have to be. I just thought maybe that would kind of make this search a little bit easier. And in fact, I don't mind this one right up here. I'm not sure it's the right color exactly. But let's see what we find. All right, it's got a little bit of funkiness going on to it. So what I might do is give you, I mean, this is the way you would do it. It's just when you find these stock photos, of course, you know, they have their issues. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to give that as an asset. So let's take a look at, you know, what I already have. So what you'll create is a materials library, and then we're going to use this herringbone brick, and I will provide that. But essentially, you know, it's kind of being driven by some images that you might find on the internet. So, all right, so let's go back here, and we're going to grab the brick, and we're going to change that to my materials. So you'll want a materials folder for your project, and place in any specific custom materials. So this goes for, you know, your studio project. This is what way you would do it, is find some good pattern and load it in. You can see immediately that my my preview changed, and let's go ahead and talk about this a bit. Let's go ahead and edit the image and see what's what here. So what you have control over is how big that image really is. So if the image we pulled over here, if these are each like an 8-inch brick, then this whole thing is, say, at 8 inches, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. So it's probably a 4-foot image. And this is important that you kind of, you can see that I got this from some my something world. So you have to size in this parameter right here. You want to size it according to what you think the size of the actual image is. So 3'10", 3/4, strangely enough, it kind of defaulted to something that looks pretty close. I'm just going to go ahead and call this out as 4 feet, just because that's my rough estimate. And locking that probably is a good idea, but you could stretch the image if you thought that made it look better. You can offset the position. You can do a lot of things to it. You can change how much bright that image is, but let's just go with that. And so now I have this herringbone brick pattern, and I think apparently I don't need to capitalize the bone part, so I'm going to change that. All right, it's not going to let me do that. That's fine. All right, so now I have my specific custom pattern, and you can change also if you go like, oh man, that's too it's not matching kind of what's going on in my model. Like all my other materials are a little bit, you know, I don't want the kind of orange brick next to kind of more red brick. You can tint that brick and give it, you know, a specific tint. So in this case, I want to find something that gives it just the right tint. And if it gets to be a little much, you can always tone down. Like if I go red, you know, way too much. But if I go down to pink, you can see that I'm not quite there. You know, maybe I actually need some blue in this. Yeah, okay, so it's starting to cool it down and starting to kind of match a little bit of what, you know, I have going on. Oof, Woof, woof. So this is where you kind of got to get a little fussy, do a little bit of experimenting. Yeah, I think I was best off when I was just getting a little bit of blue mixed into that. Yeah, I mean that looks like it's in the right family. So you can kind of look at what's all going on here. Okay, the other thing that we want to change is we have this brick bump pattern, and that is basically using that same image, but it's only using the brightness, you know, kind of a grayscale image. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open this up in Photoshop, and you go ahead and make a grayscale image of that herringbone brick pattern. And once you do that, you're going to assign that to the bump. And the great thing about the bump map is that what it does is it immediately gives you an actual relief pattern according to light and dark. And I'm just going to call that bump. And I can make that more and more extreme or less extreme according to how much contrast I would have in that image. So you have kind of control over that, or you can, you know, do it through, you know, extreme. So as I turned this up, you can see that it kind of erased my herringbone, because the bump is not the same pattern. It's kind of a common brick pattern. So it kind of erased that. So down here I couldn't quite tell. If you look very closely, you can see it. So now I'm going to go ahead and change that image to the proper one. I'm going to have to then also edit the image so that it is the exact same scale as the this one. And so now as I pull that up, you can see that now you can really look and see the pattern, you know, really coming strong, as if there's a lot of depth there. Go to extreme, but turn it down. So this is, you know, the beauty of this is that what it does is it gives it really kind of three-dimensional texture to your renderings, that you aren't paying a huge price in processing time, because it's all being handled through images. To actual model brick and get that kind of grooves and the, you know, the grout lines and whatnot, to do it kind of very three-dimensionally would just be huge amount of time sink, both your time and the processor's time, to get all that right. So that is great. We can apply that. Now we've created our custom material.